I am here, that I am standing on the shoulders of Martin Luther King Jr., of Reverend Shuttlesworth, of Reverend Abernathy, the people who showed us in our country that if we have our hearts set on something with love, and we stand together,
that's mine,
and we do not veer from that commitment, from the grassroots up, we can change history. And once we learned that so profoundly in the civil rights movement, from that was spawned the kinds of changes that allowed from the grassroots up for us to stop an immoral, horrific war between the United States and Vietnam. We were able to stop that war. No matter what you felt at the beginning, by the time it was 5 years before the end, 1970, it was clear that it was being supported by a tissue of lies. And another 1 million people died, and Agent Orange was exposed to the Vietnamese and our troops. We stand on the shoulders of this movement that also promulgated the women's movement and allowed it to have the confidence to change the place of women in our society. We stood on the shoulders of the civil rights movement in the anti-apartheid movement, and now everywhere in the attempt to stop the mad rush to cataclysmic, irreversible, total climate alteration and the destruction of the planet. We stand now, today, we who have sung for this kind of justice, to begin to express and acknowledge something that has not been acknowledged. We have acknowledged to a certain degree and made changes for restorative justice in terms of people of color. But the invisible reality of the criminal, genocidal, without apology, cruelty of the policies of this government towards our First Nations has not been addressed.
Yeah.
If we have this in our hearts, we carry this guilt, and it makes us as a country sick. Do I say this because I am anti-American? On the contrary, it is those who refuse to recognize that we must be a moral nation, and when we are not a moral nation, we have to change it. They are the people who are non-patriotic. The first step is to acknowledge it, and then for individual people like myself to say, I can be in service to this cause. I can help to make my country a more moral nation, to redress this terrible inequity, and I myself, as a patriotic American, say to you now, as I think any of us who are of European background must say to ourselves, extraordinary harm has been done, and our hearts acknowledge it and are breaking for the terrible injury our country has done. And we are going to not only acknowledge it, but we are going to stand here as patriots and say, we will find a way to demonstrate that that is important enough so that we don't leave it at an acknowledgement, but work for justice to be done, for the treaties to be honored, for the Black Hills to be returned to the stewardship of the great Sioux Nation. That is what we will do. I offer you as one American, you who are native born, who are indigenous to this country before Europeans, before my forebears came here, I offer you my heartfelt, deepest acknowledgement and apology. I take part in the legacy of that, and I will help to change it. And that's why I am here. And that is an act of patriotism and love.